Criminal, criminal, criminal. That's what my neighbor screamed at me every single morning as if I was breaking into a stranger's house. Turns out, she was right. I didn't know it then, but for 3 whole weeks I'd been living in the wrong damn house. My name's Kevin Parker. I'm 45, a software architect who thought moving into a non-HOA neighborhood would finally give me peace. My wife Julie's a nurse. She works night shifts, so most evenings it's just me, a beer, and my quiet little home on Maple Street. Or what I thought was my home. We'd picked that place precisely because it wasn't run by a homeowners association. No nosy board, no Karen with a clipboard telling me what color to paint my door. The irony of what came next still makes me laugh. In that way, people laugh when they're barely keeping it together. The first weird thing started on a Monday evening. I went to check the mailbox, and sitting there wrapped in tissue paper like a gift was an antique brass key. It was heavy, ornate, kind of beautiful actually. Definitely not mine, but for some reason it looked like it should belong to me. I turned it over in my hand, feeling the cold metal warming against my skin, and thought, well, maybe it's a spare the previous owner left behind. Curiosity got the best of me. I slid it into my front door, and it fit. Smooth, perfect, like it had been made for that exact lock. That's when I heard her. "Stop. You're breaking into someone's house." I froze. This woman, mid-50s, platinum blonde, bob-tailored suit, and that unmistakable HOA badge shining on her lapel, came charging across her lawn like a SWAT commander on caffeine. "Criminal. Drop the key," she shouted. I blinked, still holding my own doorknob. "Ma'am, this is my house." "Wrong," she snapped, eyes blazing. "You don't belong here." And then she saw the brass key, and something in her face broke. Fear, raw, bone-deep fear. Her whole body trembled. "It's back," she whispered like she was seeing a ghost. Oh God. It found me again. Before I could even process that, a teenage boy stepped out of the garage next door. Calm. Controlled. Way too composed for someone his age. "Mom, it's okay," he said, his voice like a professional therapist. "Just a neighbor. Probably a misunderstanding." That was Tyler, her son. 17, polite, responsible, or at least that's how he wanted me to see him. Victoria, her name, as I later learned, backed off, still shaking. Tyler smiled apologetically. "Sorry, Mr. Parker," I said. "Mr. Parker. That key triggers my mom's anxiety. It's complicated." He said it like a young man forced to grow up too soon. Mature, kind, perfectly reasonable. I actually felt bad for them. If only I'd known that was his first move gaining my sympathy. The next morning I woke up to chaos. 3 trucksmen with clipboards measuring my grass, inspecting my mailbox. And leading the charge, Victoria in her power suit, barking orders like a general. "Mr. Parker, you are subject to a mandatory compliance review," she announced. "What compliance? I don't even belong to your HOA." She didn't blink. Suspicious activity supersedes consent. That line still echoes in my head. Neighbors gathered. Phones came out. Someone started live streaming HOA busts, local rule breaker, and within minutes, I was the neighborhood villain. They fined me $900 for nonsense violations, grass too long, mailbox misaligned, missing HOA placard, and my favorite, unauthorized door access pattern. Apparently unlocking my own front door was a crime now. Tyler, of course, was filming everything, calm, professional, sympathetic. "Sorry, Mr. Parker," he said softly. "Mom's just under a lot of stress." That night he came over, backpack slung over his shoulder. "Mr. Parker, can we talk privately? Mom's escalating. She's planning a legal action." He told me about their family, about his dad, Robert, a powerful attorney who'd left them after trying to have Victoria declared mentally unstable, about how she'd fought back and won but never really recovered. "She sees threats everywhere now," he said. The kid's words hit me right in the gut. It made sense. She wasn't evil, she was broken. And this kid holding the family together just wanted peace. Then he suggested I meet his father. He might help you resolve this calmly. He still cares about her. He just can't handle her control issues. I hesitated, but Tyler had this way of sounding reasonable. Like every word was carefully chosen to sound safe. So I met Robert Miller. And damn if he didn't look like the poster child for trustworthy lawyer. Expensive suit, polished manners, framed photos with city officials. "Mr. Parker," he said, shaking my hand firmly. "I've been concerned about Victoria's behavior for some time. She creates control fantasies to cope with trauma. It's a defense mechanism." He showed me papers, therapy records, psychiatric evaluations, even legal documents about her past lawsuits. Everything looked legitimate. By the time I left, I was convinced Victoria wasn't my enemy. She was a victim of her own mind. And maybe, just maybe, I could help her see that. That was my mistake. I thought I was helping. I was just another pawn in their game. Over the next few days, Tyler became my shadow, helping me gather documents, formatting evidence for a presentation to the HOA, convincing me that we were doing something noble. Julie didn't buy it. "Kevin," she said one night, "you ever wonder why that kid talks like a 40-year-old lawyer?" I laughed it off. "He's just mature for his age. Or he's rehearsed." I should have listened. Friday morning, I got a strange text from an unknown number. "Check your property deed before it's too late." Then it disappeared. Auto-deleted. Julie insisted we dig out the house papers, and that's when everything fell apart. Our deed said 248 Maple Street. Our mailbox in the house I'd been living in said 247. I felt the blood drain from my face. "Julie, we've been living in the wrong house." For 3 weeks every morning I'd walked into Victoria's home, used her furniture, slept under her roof, while she screamed criminal at the real criminal me. I staggered outside, staring across the street at my actual home. Same layout, same color, just one digit off, and the brass key, it belonged to her. When I looked up, Tyler was standing there. No smile this time, just cold satisfaction. "Congratulations, Mr. Parker," he said. "You finally figured it out." He opened his laptop and showed me footage, weeks of it. Me unlocking her door, walking inside. Timestamps, angles, recordings. I documented everything he said. Every break-in, every time Mom tried to stop you. You called her crazy, but she was right. Neighbors crowded around. Gasps, anger, shame. I couldn't breathe. Tyler looked at me like a scientist watching his experiment succeed. "You were the perfect weapon. The unstable neighbor, the proof she needed to fall apart." That's when I finally saw him for what he was. Not a sweet, mature teenager, but a cold, calculating manipulator. Later that night, he came into my house, my real house, uninvited. Calm as ever. "You know, Mr. Parker," he said, "Dad's been training me. Psychology, manipulation, documentation. Family unity requires eliminating resistance." He spoke like he was reciting a manual. "Mom chose defiance over loyalty. Dad taught me love means control." My stomach turned. "You're talking about your mother. She stopped being my mother when she betrayed the family." He pulled out a small wooden box. Inside were letters, photos, little trinkets, old, worn, personal. "Mom's memory box," he said, smiling faintly. "Every time she started to feel stable, I'd leave one of Grandma's letters out. Reminder of what she lost. Worked every time." I felt sick. He'd been weaponizing her grief, her love, turning her trauma into evidence of mental instability. "Dad calls it perfect victim conditioning," Tyler said proudly. "Break them with their own memories. That way when they collapse, no one questions it." That was the moment I realized how deep the rabbit hole went. This wasn't some family feud, it was psychological warfare. Robert had trained his son to destroy his ex-wife from the inside out. Tyler looked at me calm as a surgeon. "Phase 1 was about Mom. Phase 2 is about your wife, Julie." That's when something inside me snapped. The guilt, the confusion, the fear, they all burned away. I'd been used, humiliated, broken, but I wasn't about to let them touch her. I spent the next day gathering every scrap of evidence I could. Texts, recordings, videos Tyler had shared. Julie helped me organize it all, her hands trembling but steady. And then we went to Victoria, the real victim. She opened the door cautiously. I held up the brass key. "You were right," I said. "And I need to show you something." We watched the footage together. Tyler's confession, his manipulation, Robert's so-called therapy reports, the way they'd twisted her pain into proof. Victoria's knees buckled. "He made me relive my mother's death," she whispered, over and over. That night we called the police. At the emergency HOA meeting that followed, I stood in front of the same neighbors who'd once filmed my humiliation. You all saw a crazy woman protecting herself, I said. But she wasn't crazy. She was fighting for her life against her own family. Tyler tried to interrupt, calm as ever. Mom's unstable, she needs treatment. But I played the recordings. His voice, his plan. Love means control. Eliminate resistance. Silence. Then chaos. Robert was arrested for conspiracy, child abuse, and psychological manipulation. Tyler was taken into juvenile rehabilitation. The boy never flinched. He just looked at me, that cold, dead smile on his face. "Thanks for being such a perfect weapon," he said as the officers led him away. But the fun's not over. 6 months later, life is quieter. Victoria's garden has grown again. Julie and I live across the street in the right house this time, but I still check my locks every night. Because last week when Julie opened the door one morning, there was something on the porch wrapped in tissue paper, a brass key, and a note. Some lessons never end. A friend. Never underestimate the damage a manipulator can do when they hide behind a smile.